Valley Ho Internet, this is the Orpig coming to you. Today I wanted to make a video about things that I've learned, things I've said in the past that I've been wrong about, and just that I'm sorry, and I continue to learn and grow, just as I hope you do. So, with that being said, let's jump into it. The first thing is a superset versus a drop set. So I did a video back when I first started my channel for me showing failure, and I was doing what I labeled as supersets. But a superset is actually when you go from one exercise to another for opposite body parts, one after the other. So for example, if you do bench press, you're working your chest, the opposite muscle of your chest is your back. So what you would maybe do is do bench press and then go right over and do some pull-ups or lat pull-downs, all right, or some rows, something for your back. And you would do your chest, you would go over, you would do your back, and then you would rest for 1 minute. So you're not allowing yourself a rest between that period of work. You're keeping your heart rate up, but in theory, you're using two different muscles that are opposite, that contradict one another, and so that promotes more growth within your body. So that is a superset, okay? Doing that, resting for a minute, and then doing it again for another set. Doing like 3, 4, 5 sets, however many you do, 10. So that's a superset. A drop set is when you grab less weight. So let's say I'm doing bench press and I'm doing 135 or whatever. I'm doing that as many times as I can, and then I'm taking 10 pounds off of each side. And then I'm doing that for as many as I can. And then you take 10 more pounds or 5 pounds off of each side. And then you do as many as you can. And you just progressively go down in weight and do as many as you can. Or, you know, with cables. So that's the difference between a superset and a drop set. Next thing is with intermittent fasting. So when I made this video about intermittent fasting, I was still in its infancy of learning it. Yeah, it worked for me and it was successful, but I didn't fully understand the science behind it. And with that being, I thought the important thing with intermittent fasting that it was teaching me was that I needed to eat early before I went to bed. So like if I ate 10, usually I stopped at 6, and then I would try to stay awake for 2 or 3 more hours to let my food fully digest before I went to bed. And so that would help me to lose weight and to properly digest all my food. Well, that's wrong. Okay, that's wrong. One, the reason intermittent fasting works is because of the length of period that you give yourself between meals. It doesn't matter if you eat something right before you go to bed and sleep on a full stomach, or if you eat as soon as you wake up and then stop around noon or 2 o'clock. What matters is that length of time before you eat again is that 16 hours. Doesn't matter those 8 hours. They can fall whenever. It matters the 16 hours of fasting. And the longer you can hold out on that fast, the more you burn. Because what happens towards the end of your cycle, when you're about to eat, right, you're coming up to your 16 hours, that's when you burn the most fat. So if you can sustain that a little bit longer, like I'm supposed to eat at 11:30, I know if I can push that to like 1 o'clock or 1:30, I'll burn many more calories and fat off my body. Well, not calories, I'm sorry. I'll burn more fat off my body because my body needs a fuel source, and it's going to resort to taking the fat. So it's going to take that fat from me and allow me to lose weight. Vice versa, if I eat earlier than when I'm supposed to stop. So like if I'm supposed to stop eating at 6 and I come home early and I'm starving and I eat at 4 o'clock and then I'm not hungry again, then that's going to push my window longer as well because now I finished 2 hours earlier. So that helps me tremendously is having that longer window because you burn more fat towards the end of your cycle. Now, some people have the misconception out there that means if I'm burning more towards the end of my cycle, then I can extend that indefinitely. Because like there was all this trash on the YouTube recently about this kid who did 28 days of a water fast. A water fast. So all he did was drink water. Let me tell you something. You need food to live. You need food to survive. And you need food if you're into bodybuilding and weightlifting and you want to grow muscle. You need food for your muscles. Your body does not prioritize muscle over your life. So that means your body is going to make sure you feed your mind, your heart, all your life-giving functions before it starts feeding nutrients to your muscles. Okay, so this kid wants to say that he lost all kind of weight and grew muscle or sustained it. I'm going to raise the BS flag on that one. Okay, this is for you. A while back, let me tell you a story. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was working out hard, and I ran in the morning, every morning. I would lift in the afternoon with my buddy Park. And a lot of times when we were going around shooting competition matches, we would, you had the afternoon off. Once you were done, you were done. So a lot of times we'd play physical activities. We played basketball, okay? And look, I know about keeping myself hydrated and everything, but I thought I was staying hydrated. I got back to my room and I was just, so thirsty. So I remember I drank I just chugged a bottle of water, and then I jumped in the shower, and then I'm throwing up all that water in the shower. I mean, it was just nothing but liquid. So I went to the PX. I got me some Gatorade. I came back. I started sipping on that. As soon as I sipped on it, I threw it all up. All right. Ended up going to the hospital. Long story short, they finally diagnosed me properly with dehydration. I remember them. I don't know what happened. I was so weak. I was so tired. I passed out. I remember them waking me up in the middle of the night at one time, asking me if I had to pee, and I was like, no. And they looked at me like I was crazy because they said they had given me 3 bags of IV liquid and 3 IVs, and I should have to pee by now. And I was like, I don't. So leave me alone. And I rolled over and I went back to bed. I think they said they ended up giving me 5 or 6 bags or so. And even then, in the morning, I had to use the bathroom, but it was just like a normal amount. My point is this. My point is that if you deprive your body of something for too long, like your body starts to reject it. Okay. So my biggest concern, anytime you want to see some kind of drastic results and you do some kind of drastic diet like that, like you stand a chance of your body rejecting food once you try to reintroduce it. You probably stand a good chance of your digestive system shutting down. How many of you have heard about people's digestive systems shutting down? Now, sure, it was for a disease or because they were sick or whatever, but what do you think could happen if you don't eat food? I mean, that's what happened to my body, and this was less than 24 hours where I didn't drink water. And, I was drinking water, but just not enough. I was sweating it out, obviously, more than what my body could replenish its nutrients with. So what do you think would happen if you did that with food? My point is, don't be an idiot. Don't take studies, don't take examples of people who have had results with a certain diet and think that you can change it to the extreme and have better results. Like, if I burn this much fat for fasting for 16 hours, then what would happen if I fasted for 48? No. You can push it out to a day. You can absolutely do 24 hours. You can absolutely do 48 hours of no food. They say that it's good to give your digestive system a break. But any longer than that, and you risk serious permanent damage to your body. So don't do it. Understand the results, understand what they do, and understand that there's a maximum point that you can reach with the benefits for it. And after that, you actually start to hurt yourself. Okay? So there's points that can help you, but then there's a certain point that once you go past that, you're doing more harm than good. So understand that when you're doing your diet. Okay, moving back to the conversation. Another thing I learned was you've heard me say in the past, like I would monitor my carbs before I would go to bed, like late at night, because I used to think of carbs as like putting fuel in your car. Like I don't want to put a full tank of gas in my car before I lock it up for storage. Well, guess what? That's not the case. All about your macros, fats, proteins, carbs. Doesn't matter when you eat them. It just matters that you eat the proper amount. So you can go out there and run a marathon all day long and then eat your carbs late at night before you go to bed and then fall asleep on them. And your body is going to use what it needs. As long as you consume the right amount of carbs, the right amount of fat, the right amount of protein, your body's going to properly utilize them in that 24-hour period. So it's important that you eat properly each day. Or, I know I said you fast for 48 hours. The point is that you eat right. Your body is going to use what it needs for essentials in a proper manner. Okay, your body's an efficient machine and it's going to use it. So it doesn't matter. You can go to bed on a full plate of carbs as long as you haven't had carbs and you meet your goals, whatever. You can go to bed at night and you're still going to sustain it. It was explained to me that even when you sleep, we have this misconception that our metabolism goes down. I believe it. I heard that and I thought it was true. Well, it's not, because when you sleep, okay, your heart rate is still going the same. It still has to deliver blood throughout your body. Now, are you burning the same amount of calories while you're sleeping if you were at the gym or running? Well, no, obviously not. But guess what? You're burning about the same amount of calories if you were sitting your butt on the couch watching boob tube, okay? Just as much calories is being burned while you sleep, because your body still has to sustain life. So you are constantly burning calories. It's making sure your brain stays active. It's making sure your heart is pumping, your lungs are working, blood is flowing through your body, and that all takes calories. So your body is constantly doing those things. Whether you're asleep or awake, it's in the same mode. I was under a misconception, and I said that, and I apologize. I've since learned, all right? We can all learn. You can teach me something still. Understand that different people have different diets that work for them. So what works for me might not work for you, all right? And that's because our body types are different. Nobody likes this, okay? We want to believe we're all the same, right? We all have stomach, intestines, kidneys, and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, our bodies are different. I don't know if it has to do with genetics, where we come from. People in the north eat this kind of food, so their body's more efficiently at burning it. People in the Mediterranean should be on this kind of diet because of the food available to them and what can be grown there. I don't know. I don't know all that, and I'm not going to pretend to know all that. But what I will say is, if you give an honest attempt at any diet, whether it's paleo or keto or intermittent fasting, Mediterranean diet, whatever it is, if you give it an honest chance, for a month and you don't see results, then it's your body, okay? It's not necessarily, the diet's bad. I know that's what we would all say. I know it's what I would say, all right? Absolutely, because it didn't work for me. But we have to understand that there are different body types. And so what works for me and what works for another person might not necessarily work for you, or you might have success and then you tell somebody and they don't have success. And it's because our body types are actually different, and there can be a diet that doesn't work for them. Now, we can't just accept excuses. Somebody sitting there eating a Sonic Blast going, I don't know. I just can't lose any weight. I don't know why this diet's not working. I think the clue is in your hand. But anyway, you get it, all right? If you get an honest chance, with a diet, sometimes it might not work. You might not get as good as results. And then the last thing that I learned is that when you work on your strength for weightlifting, you actually have no growth because you are tightening those muscle fibers. And so I messed up. I had my wife on a workout plan where she was using light weights, high reps, right? Because that's just the way you think of it. You think a female, she doesn't want to get big, so we don't want to get big, we don't use big weights, right? We want to stay small, we use small weights, and we burn it out. But the opposite is true. If we use a light weight and do plentiful repetitions and burn it to the ground, you are going to grow muscle and you are going to get bigger. So especially for women, if you want to get toned up and you want to get firm, then you want to do high weight. Now, if there's an area you do want to grow, like you do want to grow your butt or your legs, then you want to do low weight, high repetition. What do I mean high repetition? I mean like 15 to 20. I mean at least 4 sets. 4 sets of 15 to 20 is what you want to do. For strength, you want to go all the way down to 4 or 6, all right? Where you are just pushing that weight and you can only knock out probably 6 for your first set, maybe 6 or 5 for your next. And by that third and fourth set, you're squeaking out 4 to 5. Like that's your goal for strength. Heavier weight, barely getting it done. And that is going to tighten those fibers. But when we use light weight and we do many repetitions, we are destroying the muscle fibers. And the body to respond to that will just grow more. It's not going to necessarily be stronger, but it's going to grow more. Because for stamina, you need more muscle. For strength, you need each muscle fiber to be tighter and stronger. So those are some of the things I've learned. I'm sorry for the misinformation that I've given in the past, but hey, we continue to learn and grow. And if I'm not willing to admit my mistakes to you to correct them, then I'm never going to grow. You're never going to grow. I mean, hopefully what I'm not telling you now is false, but I only give you information that I believe to be correct, and I try to research it as much as I can. But what can I say? I'm human. I'm fallible. I make mistakes. I'm sorry. I'm the Orpig. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, subscribe. I'm sorry about the misinformation. I'll try to do a better job, guys and girls, and I'll see you again next time. Bye. Hey, if you stuck around, it's time for another What's on My Set List. So today's song is another one by Paris because I told you I really like them, and it's You and I. Love their song. I loved it when they played it in concert. I found it, put it on my set list to work out, and it gets me jacked when I'm at the gym. So let me know what you like to listen to while you work out. Check that song out, and I'll see you again later. Bye.